Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you for watching. This is a live stream today. I wanted to talk about. Hello, hello, hello. This is Warren Redlick. Let's go. I wanted to talk today about deliveries and production. I had a video earlier. Don't panic. I'm got a cough drop in my mouth, by the way, because it appears I have a cold. Don't worry. Don't panic. I'll be okay. I know you're all deeply concerned about me, but it's not a big deal. I know in the age of the thing, we're all supposed to be terrified that somebody's going to die tomorrow because they have a cold. I'm good. Cough drop, drinking some hot tea. I'll be all right. So the big news: Tesla reported deliveries and production. Over 439,000 vehicles produced, over 405,000 vehicles delivered, and everybody's freaking out like this is a crisis. This is a 40% year on year. 2022 is a 40% year on year increase over 2021. 2021 was like an 80+% increase, 86% increase or something like that on 2020. So on average over those 2 years, Tesla grew more than 50% a year. Production grew 47%. That's damn close to 50%. There were a lot of annoying things that happened during the year that created issues, but things are going great. And just compare um, production: 439,000 vehicles produced versus 365,000 last quarter. That is 35 plus 39, 74,000 vehicles more. That is a monster jump from the previous quarter in production. Deliveries, 405,000 versus 343,000 the last quarter. That's 57 plus 5, 62,000 increase in deliveries. Tesla's growing. Find me a company that's growing faster. This is going to be followed by the media is going to jump on this today and tomorrow. I haven't looked at media reports yet. The media and the panicky internal fudsters, the Barry Glacks of the world, and we'll see how Ross Gerber does, and we'll see what happens. You'll see people calling this a negative. Now, let's be clear. Tesla has guided for 50% growth per year for a period of time going forward. And we were certainly hoping for 50% growth this year. We got way more than 50% growth in 2021 versus 2020. You can't expect it to be a smooth ride. But 40% vehicle delivery growth might translate to higher than 40% revenue growth, because the average selling price for the year 2022 is going to be higher than for the year 2021. Both because there's a greater volume of Model Ys versus Model 3s. Model Ys are more expensive, and because prices were much higher in 2022 than 2021. And on top of that, we don't have numbers for this yet. They don't provide Tesla Energy numbers. It seems like Tesla Energy is growing faster than vehicles. We don't have a Q4 number for storage deployed, Megapack units, solar, whatever. We don't have those numbers yet. But it seems like Megapack is growing. I don't think Powerwall is growing yet, but Powerwall is about to start growing. When you add growth in Megapack, maybe some growth in solar, maybe some growth in Powerwall, by my numbers, I think we're going to see Tesla Energy grow more than 50% from 2020 to 2021, and that will push total growth closer to 50%. Revenue growth may be higher than 50%. Profit growth is almost certainly going to be higher than 50%. So there's a lot of good things that we can talk about that people aren't getting, right? You're going to hear all these negative voices, and don't panic. Find me a company that's growing 40% a year. This is one of the largest companies in the world that's growing 40% a year. And we see all these positive things happening. And you get people who will give you the negatives about, oh, there's this problem, oh, there's that problem. Don't panic. I'm going to go. This was just I just wanted to react sort of, not live, but, I had a chance to see some of the responses. Oh, how are you going to spin this one? Oh, it's a terrible thing, blah, blah, blah. This is not terrible. Is it as fast as we look? Would I like to see faster vehicle delivery growth? Yeah, sure. But I just don't see this as a problem. Martin Cahill says vehicles in transit count should be added to the quarterly numbers. No, I mean, look, they count it the way they count it. You don't want to cheat this year and count one way versus how you counted the previous year. 40% delivery growth is not bad. 40% delivery growth is pretty good. And then, what may happen, here's what we don't know. Number one, we now have a bunch of vehicles that haven't been delivered yet, because the previous quarter also had more production than deliveries. So there's something like 60,000 vehicles that will be delivered in the next quarter that weren't delivered in the previous quarter. We don't know, and we are facing rough economic times in 2023. I mean, Elon has said so. We are looking at recessionary conditions in a lot of the world. If there's a recession, that will put pressure on demand. That will put pressure on demand for cars generally. If the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates high, that will put pressure on demand for cars generally. My expectation is that we will see Tesla lower prices in China and probably lower prices in Europe at some point this coming year. This year, we're in 2023 now. Thank you, Chris. Free Andrew Tate. I'm sure the Romanian government will deal with Andrew Tate however they deal with him. I don't know what the charges are against him. I think the guy makes some sense sometimes. Other times, I think he goes too far. But he has some good insights, but probably not the right person to idolize, just an opinion. So, I mean, some really good points, but maybe a little misogynist. I'm just saying maybe. So, a lot of positive things coming this year. Giga Texas and Giga Berlin are going to ramp. Shanghai will probably grow a little bit more. I think Shanghai is close to its capacity, long-term capacity, but Shanghai keeps surprising, so we'll see how big it gets. Fremont will probably grow a little bit. Cybertruck is going to go into production maybe Q2 or Q3 of 2023. By the end of the year, Cybertruck will hopefully be producing more than 1,000 a week, maybe 2,000 a week. Maybe we'll see more than 10,000 Cybertrucks delivered this year, and maybe it'll be 50,000. We don't know that. Did I get the jab? No, I didn't get the jab. I'm unjabbed, unmasked, and unjabbed. Good question from Larry the Lobster. How many factories do you see announced this year? They said in a separate, let me find it. I gave you the numbers here. 439,000 production, 405,000 deliveries. For the year, 1.369 produced, 1.37 million produced, 1.3 million delivered. These are good numbers. But let me go back and see that. Press releases. Where'd it go? Menu. Press releases. There's a press release. March 1st, there's going to be an event. I'm just going to read this to you. We plan to host on an event, Tesla in 2023 Investor Day on March 1, 2023. The event will be live streamed from Giga Texas with the option for some of our institutional and retail investors to attend in person. Yes, I'm hoping I get to go. Martin Vieca, if you're watching, I'd love an invite. Our investors will be able to see our most advanced production line, as well as discuss long-term expansion plans. Generation 3 platform. We now know we're going to get a reveal of the Gen 3 vehicle on March 1. That's not big short-term news. That's big long-term news. We're going to get details on the Generation 3 vehicle. What Barry Glack calls the $30,000 vehicle. I'm calling the Generation 3 vehicle because that's what Tesla calls it. The Generation 3 platform, it's called. This is the second time they've used the word platform that I've seen. It's not a vehicle, it's a platform. Which is, if you think about it, Model 3 and Model Y are a platform, Model S and Model X are a platform, so it's reasonable to expect there will be multiple vehicles, 2 or more vehicles on the same platform for Generation 3. They'll discuss capital allocation, interesting, long-term expansion plans, and other subjects with our leadership team. So this is big. See our most advanced production line. They are producing Model Y with structural pack now. That is the most advanced production line. We saw a preview of that production line at Cyber Rodeo. We actually were, this is when people who got a tour. The tour for a Tesla shareholder meeting was not a structural pack Model 3, 4680 structural pack Model Y. That was the 2170 Model Y. So I'm expecting that we're going to see an actual production line of structural pack Model Y at this event. Now, I'm hoping I get invited. I've been invited to these events in the past. We'll see. The Tesla works in mysterious ways, so we'll see what happens, but I'm certainly hoping to go to that. So let me go back to, where are you guys? Oh, here we go. I'm figuring out my computer here. And I have guests, so I have guests who may walk in at any moment, so that could be a fun moment. I have the lovely Juan Daniel and his and not my hashtag not my girlfriend Yasmin, guests from Europe who are visiting, and we're going to see a rocket launch tomorrow morning. Um, let's see these numbers could be quite good for you, Warren. You'll get more stock for you. Yeah, my view is if the stock falls, I can't predict short-term stock movements. Let's talk about the short-term stock price right out of the gate. I can't predict short-term stock price movements. I don't think anybody can. I'm sure Barry Glack will offer you his opinion. I'm sure other people will offer their opinion what the stock's going to do tomorrow. There's the way I see it, and I'm not a short-term guy. The way I see it is, on the one hand, there's no more tax loss harvesting, and the people who got margin called are mostly cleared out. So the selling pressure that we saw at the end of the year should be gone. It is possible that there's more people who potentially face margin calls, and if the stock drops more, they face more margin calls. Can't know that. Stock was up a little bit from the bottom, so it would have to fall a bit more in order to get to where it would push more margin calls. The other side of it is, if you're looking at earnings per share for 2023 and you're looking at price earnings ratio, actually, if you're looking for earnings per share for 2022 and price earnings ratio, you're going to see, hey, this stock is priced pretty low for a company growing this fast. So Brooke Chen says, so I think it's hard to call the stock price. On the one hand, I see the selling pressure gone. On the other hand, I see an opportunity for people to buy a stock that's a growth stock cheap. And then you've got the fact that people are concerned about the recession. They may not want to take that risk. And there's bond opportunity. They can buy bonds and get a good return on their bonds. I think if you're looking long-term, Tesla's the right investment, but we'll see. Brooke Chen says, want to hear some updates on the Roadster 2.0, especially the fact that it has the SpaceX package option. They have not talked about Roadster much. I don't think that that's going to come up at the March 1st meeting. We'll see. Maybe they'll reveal the Roadster at the March 1st meeting. I mean, Roadster and Semi were announced together, and Semi's in production now. So it would make sense for Roadster to happen. What color Roadster Plaid are you getting? I do not have a Roadster on order. I have Cybertruck on order. I am not getting a Roadster. I don't need that. Cybertruck is the vehicle I want, and once I get Roadster, that's it. I do have a Model X Plaid for those who don't know, and I did a bunch of Plaid runs yesterday with my friend Juan Daniel. It's interesting to see people's reactions to Plaid acceleration. So some people are like, "Ooh, that was fun. Do it again." Gail Alfar in Austin, Texas, loved the Plaid run. And many people love the Plaid run. Most people enjoy it. Kind of like a roller coaster. Some people are like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that again, please." My best friend's girlfriend had a screaming panic attack in the passenger seat. Juan Daniel loved it at first, but after the 10th time, or I'm making up numbers, I don't remember if it was 10 times. After the 10th time, he's like, okay, I think I'm starting to get dizzy. So as a driver, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's a blast. Tomorrow's launch is an RTLS. Yes, I'm watching, my friends Yasmin and Juan Daniel are visiting from Europe. They're out at Kennedy Space Center or the beach or something like that right now. They're coming back. We're having dinner together. But tomorrow morning, there's a launch around 10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's a transporter launch. So I think it's a bunch of small satellites, and it's going to come back and land at the Cape. So it should be an exciting launch to watch. Brooke Chen says, how is FSD progress going in your opinion? Well, I don't have version 11 yet. I think that the big distinction, I probably said this a bunch of times before, the biggest distinction about FSD that I see is the crash interventions are gone. I can't think of the last time I had to intervene to prevent a crash. The car just won't crash. It makes stupid decisions. Sometimes it makes a right turn when it should make a left turn. It makes lane change. Lane change decisions are like the biggest issue that I think need to be resolved. Navigation in general, I think Tesla needs to develop a better mapping and navigation system, and I suspect that they're working on that they'll have a crowdsourced mapping from the cars. Yes, nobody's thrown up in my car yet, Jim, but people have said they might throw up. And yes, Roadster is a threat to some of the premium, hypercars, but the Plaid S is already a threat to the premium hypercars. And the Roadster fundamentally is a low-volume vehicle that is not meaningful for Tesla's long-term future. So will they deliver it at some point? Yes, I think they will. And yes, if you came in late, I have a cold. Don't worry, I'm not going to die today. I know you're all worried about me. You're all deeply concerned. I'll be fine. So yeah, there's Shanghai lockdowns in the spring. There's all kinds of things that interfered with growth this year. They were still confident the Q3 call that they had a shot at 50% growth. And I think if you're looking at revenue growth and especially profit growth, Tesla will deliver 50% profit growth for 2022. I forget what earnings per share was in 2021, but it wasn't that high. Earnings per share this year should be over $4 a share. I'm pretty confident that earnings per share in 2021 was less than $2 a share. So I think we're looking at, a more than a significantly more than 50% growth in profit, maybe 100% plus growth in profit. Jim Whitehead is one of the moderators. Thank you, Jim, for moderating. He says, meet Kevin and many of his followers sold Tesla in December to harvest tax losses and plan to buy back after 30 days late January. Interesting. People who harvest tax losses, maybe there's a rule that you have to wait before you buy back. I don't know. That seems like a risky play. Brooke Chen says Roadster 2.0 is sort of a status symbol that will ultimately cement Tesla's brand, but not necessarily important to the overall company mission. No, Cybertruck. Cybertruck is going to cement Tesla's brand. Cybertruck is the massive game changer. And the Generation 3 vehicle, which we're going to hear about before Cybertruck is delivered, the Generation 3 vehicle is going to be a radical change. This is my prediction. It's going to be a radical change. Matt Burns, Earl says minus 10% tomorrow. I didn't know Earl was now an investing guru. I thought Earl was a front puppy guy, but now Earl is an investing guru. I don't know. Maybe it'll go down 20%. I don't know. I'm not really. This is the thing. If you are a long-term investor, then what the stock price does tomorrow, the next day, doesn't matter if you're a buy and hold investor. If you're buying, you're holding, you're not planning on selling for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like for me, it's 2026, maybe 20. I mean, I'm really shooting for 2030. If I can hold on my stock to 2030 and accumulate more, great. I am planning to accumulate in a month or two. I am planning on buying a bunch more stock, possibly through call options because the price is way too low and it's like too tempting to buy through call options. I'm not an options advocate. I don't recommend options to anybody else. It's just like I see like there's potential here. So, Brooke, I think I already. That's question. Let's see. So, I think FSD progress is great. Just I don't know if I answered that question or not. You have to wait 30 days or watch sale rules by the IRS. Ignore the sale for tax purposes. As it never occurred for loss. Got it. What do I think are the main reasons for the guidance miss? Well, first of all, I don't think guidance has necessarily been missed. I don't know if they said 50% increase in deliveries. I think they said 50% growth. And I think they may deliver 50% I think they're likely to deliver 50% revenue growth, and they're likely to deliver 100% plus profit growth. So if you limit growth numbers to deliveries, then I think you're being unfair to the company. Most companies would be valued on their revenue or their profit. They would be evaluated on their revenue or their profit rather than on their deliveries. So I think focusing on deliveries as the number to watch is probably a mistake. Is Model Y the best-selling vehicle this year? I believe it is not the best-selling vehicle this year. I believe it is the best-selling vehicle by dollar value, by sales volume this year, but not by unit volume. It will be the best-selling vehicle in the world in 2023. Well, Model Y demand collapse. Now it won't get the $7,500 credit. I covered this in the previous video. I did a video earlier today. Don't Panic Part 1. Tesla can just make all their Model Y 7-seat. I don't see why this is a big deal. That's not a collapse. They just make all the Model Y 7-seaters. And I'm sure they'll contact the IRS. There'll be some lobbying. The IRS will eventually apply the $7,500 credit to the 5-seat Model Y, but it's not very complicated for Tesla to just say, okay, we're going to make a bunch more 7-seat Model Ys. It's probably like a supply chain issue of getting all the materials they need to do it. But I think that Tesla will be able to push sales of 7-seat Model Ys in the United States. And, are you going to turn down a 7-seat Model Y if you're going to get, let's say they raise the price is up $3,000, but you're getting a $7,500 credit, so you're $4,500 cheaper than if you bought a 5-seater. You're getting 2 extra seats for negative $4,000. Are people going to turn that down? I don't think this is a good thing in the long run for Tesla. I do think the IRS is wrong for doing it this way, but stuff happens. Do I think Elon will push for Cybertrucks to be in production and delivered even sooner, giving all the uncertainty in 2023? No, Elon is not a short-term guy. Elon is a long-term guy, right? I'm a long-term guy. If you're investing in Tesla, you're thinking long-term. There's no 2023 problem. Tesla is growing and is going to be profitable in 2023. Where's the problem? Is the problem that I wanted bigger numbers sooner? Well, you don't always get everything you want in life. Cybertruck. I mean, Elon was pushing Lars at the Q3 investor call. When am I getting my beta Cybertruck? They are working on getting beta Cybertrucks. There's like 30 or so beta Cybertrucks are going to be built, and Elon's going to get one of them. He's going to be driving it around, and they're getting the Gigapress in place, and then they'll get the other things they need in place. I think there was some indication that they've actually started putting the 9,000 ton Gigapress in place for Cybertruck. Yeah, I mean, my plain and simple question is: show me another company this large that grew 40% year on year, and that's deliveries. Now, I think we're going to see revenue growth of greater than 50%. Show me another company that's got 50% revenue growth from 2021 to 2022. A large company, doesn't have to be as big as Tesla, but show me a company that's worth more than 100 billion market cap that delivered 40% unit growth, 50% revenue growth, 100% profit growth from 2021 to 2022. What do I think about Lucid Air? Pak Chu says, what do you think about Lucid Air? Is it a good vehicle and a threat to Tesla? I think that there are some Lucid Airs that have been delivered that have been good cars. I think that they have a lot of problems. I don't think it's a threat to Tesla. They're not producing in significant volume, and the Lucid Air does not compete with Tesla's main cars. Tesla's main cars are the Model 3 and the Model Y. The Model S, the only thing that the Lucid Air competes with is the Model S, which sells like hotcakes. And it doesn't really compete with the Model S because it's significantly more expensive. I mean, the new Air Pure is less expensive, but the new Air Pure is not as nice of a car. So we'll see. Can they produce in volume and can they make money selling them? I don't know. So far, they're losing money like crazy. Lucid Motors cars are amazing. I do see them competing with Mercedes and BMW. That's GTP 2022. I'm not convinced that they're amazing. I think that they're okay. They're spending about $1 million or $2 million a car to sell them for $150,000. Does that seem like a good long-term strategy? I don't know. They're bleeding cash. Their stock is down. Prediction for energy revenue in 2023 and 2024. Let me look at that. That's a good question. Tesla energy revenue was, I don't know if they report energy revenue directly. Total revenue was 21.4 billion in Q3. Automotive revenue was 18.6. So the remaining revenue was a little under $3 billion for Q3. So if you figure 2 billion of that is energy, I don't know if that's reported somewhere else. Is that reported somewhere else? Let me see. I'm just going to look at that. That's a good question. I want to answer that question. We know what energy, I think that's in the charts. I think Tesla energy revenue is in the charts. So let's see if we can find that. Financial statements, energy generation and storage was 1.1 billion in Q3 2022. What's the other revenue? Services and others 1.6 billion. So that's the two together. So 1.1 billion in Q3 2022. So times 4, that would be close to 5 billion. I think we're going to see 7 or 8 billion, maybe 10 billion. I mean, it depends on Megapack, really. That's the big question. How big will Megapack grow? How big will Megapack grow? Apparently we have some Lucid Motors fans in the chat. GTP 2022 says Lucid Gravity SUV will be unveiled in 2023. Best SUV in the world. Hey, it'll be the best SUV prototype ever. Prototypes are easy. Manufacturing is hard. We'll see. Lucid has a lot of financial problems. They're now, an EV startup going into a recession is an interesting place to be. Jim Whitehead says best in Tesla YouTuber named Lars is also predicting an almost 100% jump as Austin and Berlin move to full-scale production this year. So, sorry, I'm saying 100% profit growth 2021 to 2022. I think we're at about a GTP 2022. You're on the wrong channel. This is not a Lucid Motors channel. This is not a Lucid Motors video. I'm coming out with a former Tesla Air t-shirt. That's not a bad idea. I have 3 new t-shirts. If you go to elonbits.com, I have 3 new t-shirts. Also, you can get the stainless steel water bottles, the TSLA and the ELON stainless steel water bottles, elonbits.com. You can get there's a new Barry Glack T-shirt, and there's a new Baglino Fan Club T-shirt, and there's a new Tesla Superhero T-shirt. Um, so those are all, and I've got my samples on order. When I get my samples, I'll wear them. I'll promote them more. But elonbits.com for the T-shirts and the stainless steel water bottles, and there's also a coffee mug. Model X is going to outsell Lucid Gravity. We don't know enough about Lucid Gravity to have an opinion on that. Tesla delivery number failed this quarter. What will be happening to the stock price? It's not a fail. It is going to be. This is one of those things. This is the FUD. Okay, this is going to be described as a fail. I'm going to say this again. 40% unit growth in vehicles from 2021 to 2022. 40% growth, and an absolute mind-boggling record quarter, especially for production. The production is insane. I think we are at or close to a 40,000 vehicle weekly run rate, which is a 2 million a year run rate. I think the big question, leave aside all this panic talk and whatever, we should be at roughly a 2 million a year vehicle run rate right now, and we should be at a roughly 3 million a year run rate at the end of the year. That's with Giga Texas and Giga Berlin fully ramped or close to fully ramped by the end of the year. They should be about fully ramped by the end of 2023. Shanghai will grow a little, Fremont will grow a little, and then, Model Y in Giga Texas will be fully ramped by the end of 2023. Cybertruck will be ramping. So when you add, in particular, fully ramped Giga Texas Model Y lines and fully ramped Giga Berlin Model Y lines and Giga Shanghai going full steam, and maybe we're going to see an upgrade to Model 3. We might see a Model 3 refresh, I'm going to call it. People are calling it the Highland Project, but front and rear casting Model 3. Makes perfect sense that they would go to a front and rear cast Model 3. People are panicking about the IRA tax credit. The IRA tax credit is a good thing for Tesla overall. Are there some potential bumps in the road? Sure. I think we're going to see a mid-range Model 3 offered at $54,900. You have to anticipate that Tesla will see the regulatory environment, they'll see the tax environment, and they will adapt. Tesla is a company that adapts quickly and well. The only thing I'm concerned about with Model Y is, can they get Model Y 7? Do they have the supply chain to make 7-seat Model Y? That's an interesting question. Am I predicting 2 million cars total in 2023? Production. So if we're at a 2 million a year run rate today, and we're going to be at a 3 million a year run rate at the end of the year, and if it's a curve, if it's going up, if it's a concave curve, it's not a straight line, then I'm expecting 2.3 million vehicles produced for the year. 2.3 million vehicles produced. Deliveries probably a little less than that. So yeah, 2 million deliveries seems about right. Aaron Gilbert says, Warren, given build and ramp, don't we need 2 gigas per year to get to 20 million by 2030? So my prediction is that this Generation 3 vehicle, it won't just be the Generation 3 platform. It's going to be the Generation 3 platform and the Generation 3 factory. So my prediction is they built Giga Texas and Giga Berlin about the same time. They will build at least 2 of these Generation 3 Gigafactories at the same time. And it might be 4. It would make sense for them to build 4 of these factories at the same time. It may be that they don't have the resources to do that. It may be they want to build 2 and learn as they go from building the first 2 and build the second 2. But they're almost certainly going to need one in Asia. They're certainly going to need one in Europe, and they're certainly going to need one in North America. I think they're going to need 2 in Asia. I think Japan, they said they're going to announce a new location. I think Japan, some people think Korea, some people think Canada. I think we're going to see that. And those vehicles, those factories won't deliver, I don't think, in any volume at all in 2023. Those are going to come into, those factories will come into play in 2024. And Cybertruck will be bigger in 2020. Will start in 2023 and be much bigger in 2024. Jesco says, your thoughts on 2023 Investors Day, March 1st, going to discuss the Generation 3 platform. It's more than that. What else were they going to discuss? I think I hit it. Oh, I hit it. Darn it. Let me see if I can find that. Google News. No, not that. No, what did I do? Oh, no. Let's go to press releases. They're going to discuss, they're going to show their most advanced production line, which is the Model Y structural pack 4680 model. And maybe they're also showing their advanced production line, the battery cell line. Discuss long-term expansion plans. So That would be an indication of where they see long-term growth. That's not just 2023 to 2024, that's long-term. The Generation 3 platform, including gigafactories, I assume, capital allocation, and other subjects. So let me leave that behind. Okay. So that's all good stuff. So GTP, we apparently have a troll. GTP 2022 appears to be a troll in the chat, but I'm going to enjoy the troll and use the troll. Why is Tesla building more factories when it couldn't sell all of its cars in Q4? Tesla is selling every car. It's just that there's a problem when you produce the cars. You can't sell them all. Like if you produced a car on the last day of 2022, you can't sell it the same day. It takes a period of time from the time the vehicle rolls off the factory line till the time it arrives in the customer's hands. So if Tesla is producing 40,000 cars a week, which is roughly what I think they're producing, then they would have produced 80,000 cars in the last 2 weeks of 2022. Now, they had some leftovers from Q3 that they still had to deliver. So if you figure they delivered 20,000 of those cars, they still had 60,000 left over. And I think the numbers, what was the number? Let's see. They were only 34,000 short. So that's actually amazing that they were able to, they're only 34,000 short. That's stunning that they're only 34,000 short. Think about that. They produced 439,000. They delivered 405,000. They're at a 40,000 a week run rate, roughly. They might be a 35,000. There might be a 38,000. They're more than 30,000 a week run rate, probably about a 40,000 a week run rate. So they produced 40,000 cars. I think Shanghai might have slowed down the last week, but in the last 2 weeks, they produced probably more than 40,000 cars, and they delivered, the gap was 34,000 cars. So Madhu Kolhu says, Victor Block being mean. What was this comment? Madhu Kolu says, why is everyone telling Elon what to do? Surely a guy who can build reusable rockets, Starlink, Neuralink behind OpenAI knows what to do. Yeah, Elon's fine. It's because, Madhu, that there's so many people who think they're smarter than Elon. That's the funny part. Do I think Tesla, this is Janko Juan, do I think Tesla is a high technical company or just a normal car company like Ford and GM? So Tesla is a technology company. It's a lot of things. It is a car company, but it's also a tech company. It's a software company. It's an artificial intelligence company. It's an energy company. There's so many different things about Tesla. It's arguably a conglomerate, or it's a collection of startups, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, Tesla economist is having a personal crisis. He's going nuts. I never thought that much of his channel, to be honest. I watched him a couple times, and I just felt like he wasn't adding significant value, but some people like him. Roy says he thinks inventory is around 71,000. So what? But now you have the tax credit in the U.S. that's going to massively increase demand. Given my Tesla net worth dropping significantly over the past 6 months, what is your plan B? There's no plan B. First of all, I'm fine. Don't panic. Don't cry for me. I'll be okay. I'm not planning on using my Tesla. My Tesla stock is mostly in IRAs that I wasn't planning on cashing in for at least 4 years, but really more like 10 years or 8 years. So I'm not really worried about that. I don't need a plan B. And my plan is I'm going to start my pod car company. I'm going to start my solar farm apartments startup, and I'm going to keep making videos. And I'm not really terribly worried about my stock. The stock will solve itself. I think there's this idea that people are like, I don't evaluate my net worth based on what Tesla stock is trading at on a given day. I'm looking at how much stock I own and what I think it's going to be worth down the road. I'm much more thinking, what will my net worth be in 2030 than I am what is my net worth today. My net worth today doesn't matter. I live cheap. I'm having fun. Life is good. I go out country line dancing and I spend like $5 on a beer or $3 on a Coke. I cook for myself. I do drive an expensive car. The Model X Plaid is an expensive car. But Yangling Dong says, no way, Giga Japan, Phase 3 Shanghai instead. No, I think both, Yangling. I think there will be a next generation, the Generation 3 platform factory in Shanghai, but I think there will also be a factory in Japan. Japan is the world's third. China's bigger. China is a bigger car market than Japan, let's be clear. But Japan is the world's third largest car market. Yep, Tesla definitely needs to hit Japan hard. Yeah, so this is the thing that this is your opportunity to distinguish from genuine Tesla bulls from phony Tesla bulls. and the phony Tesla bulls will be whining about how this is a crisis. There's no crisis. Is there a short-term hiccup in terms of the economy? Yeah. Elon said so himself in Twitter Spaces. The Federal Reserve raising interest rates is a big hit on Tesla. The recession is a hit on all. The Federal Reserve raising interest rates is a hit on all car companies and all companies that make large, complex manufactured products that are sold with debt, that are typically purchased with debt. So that's a hit on Tesla. That's a hit on every other car company and lots of other companies. So that's one issue. It also, raising interest rates makes bonds more attractive than stocks. So that's another hit on the stock. And then the economy just being down is a hit on the stock. So there's a whole bunch of things that are hit on every stock, right? And then you have the margin selling pressure. And then you had tax loss harvesting. So now the margin selling pressure and the tax loss harvesting are over. But I don't make short-term stock price predictions. That's just a game. I can talk about it, but my opinions on that are worthless. Jaime says, but in Japan there are low adoption of EVs. So what? There's low adoption of EVs because there aren't many EVs offered in Japan yet. When Tesla starts offering EVs in Japan, Japanese people will adopt them. Just like, it happens everywhere else. Keeping a woman could be expensive. Sure. I don't have a woman to keep, so I don't have that problem. I go on occasional first dates and spend money on that. I take my daughters out and spend money on that. When do I think Tesla will reach 5 million deliveries? So, yeah, I do think it'll be 2025. It's possibly 2024. So if we're at a 3 million a year run rate at the end of 2023, and then these next generation gigafactories are going to start producing in 2024, they won't ramp in 2024. But the other factories combined together should get close to 4 million a year by the end of 2024. And then 2025, you'll have these new the Generation 3 platform vehicles coming out of factories at a fairly high volume in 2025. So I think you get to 6 million in 2025. That's maybe even more than 6 million. That depends. We're going to find out a lot more in March. I mean, the one thing we've got is we now are going to find out a lot more on March 1st. So if you can be patient, when I'm hoping my house sells and I get my cash before March 1st so I can buy the stock before that bumps things. Philip Battle says, can one own a Tesla charging station? I believe there's a process where you can buy a Gen 2 charger from Tesla, not a supercharger, but a Gen 2 charger. I would just go on Tesla. I'm pretty sure you can find that. Thank you, Philip, for being a member, by the way. No, Stephen Mark Ryan is still a bull. Dave Lee is still a bull. You can't obsess about these short-term bumps. This is not the stock for people who are worried about short-term bumps. I'm still struggling to accept that this is a problem. That look at the growth. Look at this growth. Wait. Let's look at this again. We got 439,000 vehicles delivered. What were deliveries in Q3? Right? Deliveries in Q3 were, hang on, the next page. I'm working on it. In Q3, they delivered 343,000 vehicles. So they delivered 60,000 more vehicles in Q4 versus Q3. That's pretty good growth. And they produced 439,000 vehicles versus 365,000 vehicles in Q3. This is massive growth. This is really, really spectacular growth. And people are have unreasonable expectations. I mean, and again, don't just focus on unit growth. What's revenue growth going to be? Well, prices in 2022 were higher than prices in 2021, right? Can we agree on that? That that the average selling price of a vehicle for Tesla in 2022 was higher than in 2021. There's a greater mix of Model Ys, which is a higher price vehicle than a Model 3. I think that Model S and X production was down in 2021 and much higher in 2022. So that's a much higher value. So the average selling price is going to be much higher. The unit growth is only 40%, but revenue growth is probably more than 50%. And profit growth I'm confident profit growth is more than 100%. So, yeah, what's Amazon's year-on-year growth? Find me another company worth more than $100 billion that's growing anywhere close to this fast. Ryan says, Warren, what business opportunities are there to help Tesla grow? Number one, the market for vehicles is still very large, and Tesla will still sell every vehicle they make. They may sell at lower prices in the short run, especially in China and Europe. The tax credit in the U.S. will mean they won't have to lower prices as much in the U.S. At some point, FSD beta's take rate goes up. People realize, wow, this FSD thing is great. The more vehicles you have out there, the more revenue and profit you generate when people decide, I want to add that. And that's what I think is coming possibly the end of 2023, sometime in 2024, FSD is going to hit that point where people want it, where it's really that good, where you can basically you have to sit in the front seat, but you don't have to keep a hand on the steering wheel. You don't have to keep your eyes on the road, and the car tells you when you have to pay attention. It says, "Hey, take over now. I need you to take over." As long as you're ready to take over, but you don't have to actively pay attention, that is a huge advantage for people. That you can be looking at your phone, you can be flirting with your girlfriend. One of these days, I'm gonna have a girlfriend. I swear, one of these days, I'm gonna have a girlfriend, and I will flirt with my girlfriend while the car is driving. Does that seem reasonable? Um, what do I expect from Investor Day on March 1? I expect that they will describe in detail. The biggest news will be they will describe in some detail the Generation 3 vehicle. And the Generation 3 vehicle, I think, the Generation 3 platform will be more, because they keep calling it a platform, it's more than one vehicle. You could say simply it's going to be a compact car really designed for like routine robotaxi use. Maybe there'll be an SUV. Maybe there'll be a small van. Minivan, cargo van. I definitely see room for a small cargo van option. That's the biggest thing. And the Gigafactory design itself, how they're going to build the factories to build the vehicles, is equally important as to what the vehicles are going to be like. Like, we tend to focus on the car, and I'll say this, I'd expect that the next generation vehicle platform will not be high performance. It will be high efficiency. Their focus is going to be on lower cost per mile, not on miles per hour, not on acceleration. I'm sure it'll still be quicker than a Toyota Corolla, right? Because I think my prediction is the target for the base vehicle will be the Toyota Corolla. We want to make a vehicle that's in the same ballpark as the Toyota Corolla, but much more efficient, much higher volume, and close to competitive in price. I think it's going to be a $20,000 vehicle when all said and done. You know, the theoretical sales price will be $20,000, but by that time it'll include FSD. You'll have to buy FSD with it, and FSD will be expensive. Do I think Tesla will provide an update on Hardware 4 before March 1 Investor Day? No, they didn't say they would. I don't think they will. I don't think Hardware 4 is particularly important. I see massive growth, massive improvement in Hardware 3. Tesla is improving FSD on Hardware 3 very rapidly, and it's doing really well. And I think Hardware 4 is going to be, it'll be a step forward and 2 steps back at first, because they're going to have to retrain everything. I think. Jim Whitehead says, I think by end of year 2023, Tesla will go back to its historic highs due to the volume of cars made and Cybertruck craziness after it comes out. I don't like making those stock price predictions. I think the recessionary impact, it depends how bad the recession is. If the recession is really bad, if it really puts pressure on Tesla prices, if it really puts other pressures on the company, if the Fed raises rates more, there's a lot of things that could keep stock price down. I'm just not worried about that. Couldn't Tesla slash margins, which would explode demand and destroy the competition? Elon has said that that if they have to, they will reduce margins, not to destroy the competition, just to get cars sold. The goal isn't to destroy the competition. The goal is to get as many vehicles out on the road as possible that have the self-driving hardware and software ready, so that when people decide they want to upgrade to FSD, you get that big revenue stream. Do I think Gary or Ross will ever get their dream of being on the Tesla directors board? No, that would be a disaster. Sorry, 1 second. My cold is kicking in. Blowing my nose off screen. I don't want you guys to have to see that. I don't expect any news on Optimus coming anytime soon. I don't know what Plan 3 is. Oh, Master Plan Part 3. Yeah, I think we'll probably see Master Plan Part 3 soon. They may talk about that. That would be a good thing to talk about on March 1. Master Plan Part 3. Long-term expansion plans. That's a good thing to talk about on March 1. Absolutely. Not so crazy lady says the record amount of puts will be more piled up when they want to accumulate at 75 to 105. The market will short squeeze due to an event. This was all due to the meme stocks. Tesla was just a victim. Okay. Booger time. I think this is just an ordinary cold. Honestly, like all I've got is sniffles and a cough. That's all I've got. Thank you, not so crazy lady. I don't fully understand what you're saying I don't understand options well enough to fully understand about puts being piled up. Will I ever do another interview with Ross Gerber? I would love to do another interview with Ross Gerber. I love Ross. See, people don't like, the funny thing is people dislike Ross more than they dislike Barry Glack or Earl. Ross Gerber's great. I disagree with him recently, but overall Ross Gerber is great. And Barry Glack has been a phony from from the very beginning, and Earl is a traitor. So I don't think that he's that big of a deal. Rory Potter, great question. I had chili for dinner. Should I cancel my date tonight? Well, why did you have dinner before the date? The date should be dinner. And definitely not. Just make sure you go potty before the date starts. And brush your teeth. I don't care if somebody's a Democrat or Republican. Do you think that if someone currently owns $500,000 of TSLA, it could be worth the equivalent of 4 doubles in 2030, 8 million? Or if somebody had 1,000 in 2011, it'd be worth $1 million in 2030? I don't know about the 1,000 in 2011. I don't know those numbers. I do think that $500,000 of Tesla stock today will be worth 8 million in 2030. But that's my long-term prediction, and hopefully I'll be around for you to criticize me if it's not true. Downbay says they did already announce Master Plan Part 3 scaling, just not published as an official document. Interesting. What do I think is the fewest battery cells needed for Mod 2 Corolla Killer? So it's not Model 2, it's the Generation 3 platform. I think that we're talking about a 50 kilowatt hour battery pack, possibly a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. If they can get the efficiency to 6 miles a kilowatt hour, right? 6 miles, right? Currently Model 3 peaks around 4.5 miles a kilowatt hour. I think they're going to get to 6 miles a kilowatt hour on the next generation vehicle, on the Generation 3 platform, at least on the bottom vehicle that will be the one that's designed as a commuter robo-taxi. If you can get to 6 miles per kilowatt hour, then 50 kilowatt hours is 300 miles of range. For robo-taxi use, I don't think you need 300 miles of range. I think 200 miles of range might be enough. But if you shoot for 240 miles of range at 6 miles a kilowatt hour, then you only need 40 kilowatt hours in the battery pack. And that means you can make more vehicles because if there's a shortage of batteries, or if you want to use your batteries for Tesla Energy, or lithium, because they're probably going to be lithium iron phosphate. Jim Whitehead says, I think we're also going to hear about like battery cells, battery production, all kinds of things that we're going to hear on March 1st. This can be great to see. Rui Almazen says, I hear this all the time that I should do a video with Stephen Mark Ryan. I actually think a video with me and Stephen Mark Ryan would be incredibly boring because we agree on everything. And also, he would make me look bad because he's young and good looking and funny, and I'm boring and old and unattractive. So why would I want to be on camera with that guy? But I would love to have a conversation with Stephen Mark Ryan sometime. I don't know what the conversation would be. I seriously don't know what to ask him because we agree on like everything. What do I ask Stephen Mark Ryan in a video? What does he ask me? I don't see it. I love the guy. I think he's wonderful. I think he's great for the community. I think he's a true bull. Next Gigafactory rumored to be in Mexico. I don't think Mexico will be a Gigafactory. I think if you look at the location, it was supposed to be the province or state of Nuevo Leon. That's close to Austin. So that would be part of the supply chain for Giga Texas rather than its own factory. I don't think you would build a factory. Now, look, nobody knows. Are they going to build a factory in Montreal? I wouldn't if I was Tesla, but they know what they're doing and I don't. I wouldn't build one in Mexico. I would build another one in the United States before I build one in Canada or Mexico. And Drew Baglino said they were going to build 1,000 terawatt hours of 1,000 gigawatt hours of battery production in the United States. He didn't say North America. He said the United States. But Canada and Mexico can be really good for the supply chain. And then I think we're going to see. I think Asia. Number one, Japan is an underserved market, third largest car market in the world. We need to hit Japan with Teslas. The next generation vehicle platform should be appropriate for Tesla's market. Tesla Boomer Mommer says also he has 4x more subscribers. I don't know who we're talking about. Who has 4x more subscribers? Oh, yes, Stephen Mark Ryan has 4 times more subscribers. No, having Stephen Mark Ryan would be good for my channel, right? Having Stephen Mark Ryan on would be good for my channel because it would attract attention and I would probably get some more subscribers, but I don't care about that. I care about making good videos. If I had a panel discussion with an attractive young bear, Steve Ryan would be good to balance it out and hurl insults that make people laugh. No, Stephen and I together on a panel with some other people would be fun. But I really think like Stephen and I are we're so much alike, except he's better looking, younger, more charismatic, and funnier. Giga Tulsa, I think Giga Tulsa is a possibility, absolutely. With the Panasonic, it's not Tulsa. Well, Tulsa's a possibility. There's a Panasonic 4680 factory being built west of Kansas City, just like in Kansas City, Kansas, on the west side of it. So that would be a location, but Giga Tulsa would be a reasonably good location, absolutely. That would be a good place for building a second Cybertruck line, I think. Ice Windigo says, are you or will you eventually be on Twitter? I'm on Twitter at WR4NYGov. I'll put it in the chat. At WR4NYGOV. That is my Twitter handle. I'm yes, Tesla Boomer Mommer says that Stephen Mark Ryan is less divisive. This is it's interesting to have Alexandra in the chat. Alexandra is in the chat, Tesla Boomer Mama, and she says that Stephen Mark Ryan is less divisive. Stephen Mark Ryan is hard to believe, but he's actually more careful in what he says to not offend people directly as I am. I will call Barry Glack out by name. Stephen Mark Ryan will say some guy who manages a fund. It's obvious who he's talking about. But I just want to address this because she brought it up, and this is one of those things where this is a reason why no, we haven't patched things up. I think we're at least she's watching my videos. But let's be clear, Barry Glack can shit on Elon 3 times a day. He can attack Elon 3 times a day, say this is what Elon should do, this is what Elon is doing wrong, the Tesla board of directors isn't doing their job. He can say that 3 times a day, and Alexander will say that's not divisive, right? And Alexander will cheer him on saying it. Attacking Elon is not divisive. Me criticizing you for attacking Elon is divisive. Let's just be clear about what we're talking about, okay? And by the way, Barry Glack overhang t-shirts are available at elonbits.com. I'm waiting for my sample to come. I'll wear it. I'll show it off. The Barry Glack overhang t-shirt is the killer t-shirt for the year. So that's just, Alexandra's here. The people watching this video tend to be mostly my audience, not Barry Glack's audience. If you're a Barry Glack lover, you're probably not watching my videos anymore, most of you. And the fundamental thing is that Barry Glack frequently, he denied attacking Elon. He denied being a short-termer. He keeps talking about his catalyst for the next quarter or for the next week or whatever, the next month. Here's my catalyst for the next month, but I'm not. We had this Twitter space, and I actually got to ask him a couple questions, and he actually answered them. And he denied being a short-termer when, just read his Twitter. It's like constantly short-term catalyst, but he says he's not a. Oh, Noah Jones, thank you for your comment on the Twitter Spaces. Look, I'm not afraid to call it like I see it. And Barry Glack will attack Elon endlessly, and he denies he attacks Elon. He thinks the Tesla board of directors isn't doing their job, but that's not attacking Tesla. He thinks that Elon isn't doing his job, but that's not he will say this openly, that Elon needs to be back in the Tesla Gigafactory instead of working at Twitter, but that's not attacking Elon. And that's not divisive. But me saying Gary doesn't know what he's talking, but me saying that Barry Glack doesn't know what he's talking about and Elon probably knows better than Barry Glack, that's divisive. Okay. And let's be clear. I want to nail this down, okay? Because Alexandra's been in the chat and Alexandra's attacking me in the chat, so let's be clear. Barry Glack lied to me when he claimed that he did not popularize Twitter Overhang. The guy owns TwitterOverhang.com and promotes Twitter Overhang merch on Twitter and says he didn't popularize TwitterOverhang.com. He either lied to Alexander or Alexander lied to me when he claimed that my video making fun of him made him fear for his safety. So either he actually said that he feared for his safety because I made a video making fun of him, or so either he actually feared for his safety, which is bizarre because I don't even know where he is. I don't know what city he's in. I don't know what state he's in, and I don't care. I made a video making fun of him. I'm not a man of physical violence. I will engage in physical violence if you force me to. But I'm trained as a firearms owner to avoid conflict. As a handgun carrier, I was trained to avoid conflict. Because if you get into conflict situation when you're carrying a handgun, you might have to use it, and then you might face a jury, and that's a bad thing. So the idea that Barry Glack needs to worry about me is hilarious. You called me divisive in this chat. Tesla Boomer Mama, you scroll up in the chat, you said that Stephen Mark Ryan was less divisive. You called me more divisive. That's attacking me. Calling me divisive. Unless you think being divisive is a good thing. If you think divisive is a good thing, then say, hey, Warren, I think it's great that you're so divisive. It doesn't sound like a good thing. You said Stephen Mark Ryan was less divisive than me. It's in the chat. Like, people can go up in the chat and see it. You said he was less divisive. That means I'm more divisive. We were comparing me to him. This is just so comical. By the way, go back and watch my video where I made fun of Barry Glack. And there are bits of that video that I added later. Take those bits out and see where I did anything that made me look angry, because Alexandra told me in a DM that the video made me look angry. And Alexandra complained that I shared our DMs with the public. I didn't name her when I shared the DMs. She chose to identify herself. You said it, like, he says, I did not call you anything. You said in this chat that Stephen Mark Ryan was less divisive than me. Who was he being less divisive than? Oh, Fixter. This is a great comment from Fixter. Warren is a dick, but he's a very important voice in the Tesla community. Alexandra is also super important. I follow both. No, the correct word is asshole. By the way, my New Year's resolution is to be more of an asshole. Like, I haven't been enough of an asshole this year. I'm going to be more of an asshole this year. Can't we all just get along? So here's David Kasman says, can't we all just get along? I think he's joking a little bit. So let's be clear. I'm not going to get along with people who shit on Elon all day long. I will stop shitting on Barry Glack. I will stop criticizing Barry Glack when Barry Glack stops acting like he knows more than Elon and stops accusing Elon of doing things wrong and stops accusing Tesla's board of directors of not doing their job. If Barry Glack stops being this outsized nut job, attacking Tesla constantly, attacking Elon constantly, then I will stop criticizing him, right? Because don't claim that you are a Tesla bull while at the same time saying Elon sucks and Tesla sucks. New shirt, be less asshole. No, be more asshole. So let's see. It's like you guys are married. So no, I just to be clear, I did a video day before yesterday, where I will be making more videos criticizing internal fudsters. The problem that we have in the Tesla community, there's this sense in the Tesla community that we're fighting too much. And in the past, we had this problem where we had external FUD. We had the New York Times, we had the LA Times, we had the Wall Street Journal, we had media, whatever. We had Gordon Johnson. We had people outside the Tesla community criticizing Elon, criticizing Tesla. And that was a problem, and we all fought together to criticize the external FUD. We all made fun of Gordon Johnson. We all criticized Russ Mitchell at the LA Times. We all criticized Bloomberg, whatever. Whenever these media, so-called journalists would make comments about Tesla, and negative comments about Tesla or negative comments about Elon, we would respond. And the change happened in the last year or two when Earl of Frunkpuppy went woke and decided that he could no longer support Tesla unless every Tesla came with its own pronouns. Like, every Tesla should be released with specifying its pronouns. Like, if each Tesla car doesn't identify its pronouns, then he can't buy a Tesla car and he can't recommend anybody buy a Tesla car. So she calls me names, and then she calls me divisive, and then she says she's dropped like this. This is honestly, this is my experience with women in general. Anybody wonder why I don't have a girlfriend? This is just hilarious. So we have this problem with internal FUD now. We had a problem with external FUD in the past, and we still have an external FUD problem. And Stephen, Mark Ryan, and I are still, I'm confident that Stephen's going to continue doing this, and I'm going to continue doing this. And I just did a video the other day about Paul Krugman, who's an economist. Happy New Year, Alexandra. So there's extra. So Stephen, Mark Ryan, and I will continue, and I'm sure others will continue to make videos taking apart Gordon Johnson, taking apart CNBS, taking apart, LA Times, Russ Mitchell, whoever, when they get things wrong about Tesla and they make Tesla look bad, or they try to make Tesla look bad and fail. But now we have a problem inside the Tesla community. And the idea that we're all supposed to get along, like, I'm not going to get along with somebody who makes ridiculously dumb criticisms of Elon. Okay? And that is Barry Glack. And that is Earl of Frunkpuppy. And that, to some extent, is Ross Gerber on some days. Some days Ross is great. Some days, like, I don't know if it's when he's on his medication or off his medication. I don't know what Ross's story is. I love Ross. He has good days and bad days. Barry Glack does not have good days. He is constantly shitting on Elon. He is constantly shitting on Tesla board of directors. Earl of Frunkpuppy is constantly shitting on Elon. So this is a toxic problem within the Tesla community. And the idea that we're just all supposed to get along, I can't get along with people who are shitting on Elon, right? Look, let's be clear. I'm an absolute nutso Elon fanboy, right? I think Elon, I'm absolutely saying this without question. Elon is the greatest person to ever walk, the greatest human to ever walk this earth. Period. No exceptions. Greatest human to ever walk the earth. I'm not changing anything on that. Yes, no, she's correct on my New Year's resolution. I resolved to be a bigger asshole this year. It's joking, right? I'm joking a little bit. I will be perceived as more of an asshole this year than last year because people who support Elon haters will not be happy that I'm criticizing Elon haters. Do I shit where I eat? Whoever is shitting, this is a dictate of the community. Whoever is shitting upon Elon shall be shat at. Thank you, Ali. So, um, so this is. I just want to be clear about this. So, this is a problem within the community. The idea that we're supposed to ignore this, that we're all supposed to get along. I'm supposed to get along with Barry Glack, who's constantly shitting on Elon. I'm supposed to get along with Alexandra, who is supporting Barry Glack and shitting on Elon. I'm supposed to get along with Farzad, who is voicing the concerns of the woke and that Elon is hurting people with his words. I do think that I will get along with Farzad. I do think that I will get along with most people in the Tesla community. But Barry Glack, to me, is public enemy number one in the Tesla community, right? Gordon Johnson's a laughingstock. Barry Glack has 250,000 followers, many of whom are inside the Tesla community, who are becoming more and more critical and more dissatisfied with Elon and Tesla. And I haven't seen what Barry Glack has said about the delivery and production numbers today, but I'll bet you he's critical, and I'll bet you he thinks we need somebody on the board. All right, Victor Block, I'll give your dad number one and Elon's number two. As adults, we don't like it when our kids are bullying at school, so why do we keep on bullying Sir Elon Musk? Absolutely. Yeah. So, let's see. Alexandra knows, Fixter says, Alexandra, you should put a filter on top of everything Warren says. He's very rude, but he also makes some great points and stays logical when everyone is full of emotions. Yeah, I think that actually, if you watch the Stephen Mark, I would recommend this, by the way. Watch the Farzad interview with Stephen Mark Ryan. Stephen Mark Ryan is being very logical and matter of fact, and Farzad keeps evoking this emotional side. And maybe he was just taking a position for the sake of taking a position, but he literally said something very close to the effect of that Elon hurts people with his words. That's not the exact quote, but he said something like that about 2/3 of the way through the interview, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Crazy dating advice. A woman can screw with your head. Dating two very different ladies at the same time allowed me to clearly see which one was best. I can't date two women at the same time. It doesn't work for me. If I like a woman, I want to see her again. I don't want to see another woman. Remember Ben Sullins? Yeah, Ben Sullins. So that's part of the history of the Tesla community. You had Ben Sullins, you had E4 Electric, you had Now You Know, and they were inside the Tesla community. Now You Know was a great channel. Ben Sullins was a great channel. E4 Electric was always a pretty good channel. And then they turned on Tesla. And Barry Glack was never really a Tesla bull, okay? He was always a fake bull. He never understood. Like, somebody, ask yourself this question. If you ever paid attention to Barry Glack talking, I'll say Gary Black for a moment. Gary Black. If you ever pay attention to him talking, ask yourself this question. Has this guy ever watched the full battery day presentation? Has this guy watched the full autonomy day presentation? Has he watched the full AI day presentation or the second AID presentation? Has he watched and paid attention to and understood what Tesla's doing? Has he watched an Ashok Elaswamy presentation? Has he watched an Andrei Karpathy presentation? Here's the distinction, okay? I watch all that stuff. I watch them twice. I watch them 3 times. I take them apart and I make videos about them because I'm so passionate about what Tesla's doing as a company. Right? Stephen Mark Ryan does that. The Tesla Bulls do that. And hi, Ash. I don't know if Ash is still watching, but hi, Ash just texted me. Ash from Southern Texas. Hope all goes well in Washington. If you watch Barry Glack, thank you for your support. Who is this? Wow, I just got a big support from Noah Jones. Thank you, Jones. How are you supposed to battle test your opinions without testing them? I support the resolution. If you want to polish your metal fast, you need an abrasive. Yes. Yeah, so this is the thing. Like, if you see somebody who's critical of Elon and Tesla, did they understand battery day? There's this presentation. March 1, we're going to get a presentation on the next generation platform. And I guarantee you it is not what Barry Glack wants a $30,000 car so that Tesla can compete with $30,000 cars in China, right? That's what he wants. He has been pushing for Tesla to accelerate the $30,000 vehicle when there is no $30,000 vehicle. I think it's a $20,000 vehicle, just to be clear. We'll find out what it is when it is. Tesla is not making a $30,000 Toyota Corolla. That's not the goal of the company. The goal is to make a self-driving vehicle that is hyper efficient on a cost per mile basis, and Barry Glack has no clue. Yes, I agree, Randy Ratcliffe, that Dave Lee has made a couple of comments about Elon talking about politics. I agree that that has happened. But Dave Lee overall is a full-on bull, and Dave Lee understands Tesla, and Dave Lee watches all these events. Dave Lee watches all these Tesla presentations. Dave interviews James Dalma. Dave is a deep diver on what Tesla as a company is doing, and he supports Elon on what Elon's doing at Tesla. Barry Glack is critical of what Elon is doing at Tesla, right? He's critical of what the Tesla team is doing fundamentally. He thinks the Tesla team is not doing their jobs the way they would do it if he was on the board of directors. He would lead them better. And there's hubris and there's hubris, but thinking you're smarter than he denied he thinks he's smarter than Elon, but he keeps telling Elon what he's doing wrong, and he keeps saying Elon should do it this way. Elon should sell his shares this way. He shouldn't sell them that way. All these different, nonsense things. Elon shouldn't be busy with Twitter. He should be in the Tesla factory working on cyber. Like Lars Moravia is not doing his job, and Drew Baglino isn't doing his job. So they need Elon in the factory pushing Lars and Drew to do their jobs. If you understand that, saying that Elon is not inside the factories pushing for things is saying that Drew isn't doing his job, that Lars isn't doing his job, that Tom Zhu from China isn't doing his job. One of them was saying something, I think it was Ross was saying that this guy from China shouldn't be in Tesla Gigafactory in Texas. Like, are you kidding me? You guys know how the company runs better than they do? Is 95% in favor of Elon enough? Look, I disagree with Elon on universal basic income. I'm very public with my disagreement with Elon. I would love to have a conversation with Elon about universal basic income. I don't think it's like a high priority for him or a high priority for me. I would love to have that conversation. Maybe he would persuade me. Maybe I would persuade him. Maybe we would just end up disagreeing. I would love to have that conversation. I don't think I'm smarter than Elon. I disagree with him on the way universal basic income would work. There's lots of smart people who think universal basic income is a good idea. I think they don't understand the politics. But I'm open to Elon persuading me I'm wrong. And it's not like he's doing something about it. If Barry Glack gets on board of directors, it's time to sell Tesla. He won't have that. He won't have any impact. When do I think the recession will be over? That's a tough one. I tend to be a sky is falling guy. Like I always worried that it's not just gonna be a recession, it's gonna be a global massive depression with a hyperinflation thrown in. Who knows? I've been wrong on this for 10 plus years, so who knows? So here we go. Off-rail Russia Gators. UBI would save America. Universal basic income would save America a fortune. So really quick, the reason universal basic income would not save America a fortune is because people think we would get universal basic income and we would replace all these other government programs, and you just don't understand the American political system when you say that. We would get universal basic income plus all these programs that don't work. Right? If you think that you're going to get Congress to adopt one simple program to replace 20 or 100 different programs, you don't understand Congress. Look, one thing I'll say, I have a master's in political science from Stanford University. It's not worth a lot, but I think on that one I've got a point. Noah Jones says you can't have both open borders and universal basic income. Well, you can't have universal basic income anyway. It's communism. It's Marxism. It's to each according to his need. It's straight out of Marxism. It's half of Marxism right there. Well, Ross kind of confronted Elon a little bit in the Twitter space, but he kissed his ass at the same time. We don't need... All right, we're going to dive into universal basic income for a second. There's this idea that the bots are going to come along and they're going to do all the work and there won't be work left for humans to do, so we'll need universal basic income. And this is a massive underestimate of human potential. Number one, the way Elon might be right, okay, and I might be wrong. Elon is saying bots will basically change the economy entirely. The artificial intelligence and bots will just change the economy entirely. What I see is over the long course of the last couple hundred years of human history, if not longer, the more capital and the more technology you deploy, the more productive labor becomes. And humans will adapt and humans will find ways to be productive with the technology. Rather than saying humans will become unproductive, humans will become productive with the technology. The new technology will make humans more productive. That's the way it has always worked. It is conceivable to me that I'm wrong, that there's something about this new technological change that will make humans unproductive. But as long as we are somewhat productive, we can still produce and we can still be compensated for our production. Even if the bots are more productive, we can still produce. This is the theory of comparative advantage. I studied economics. I have a bachelor's degree in mathematical economics. I studied at a graduate level as well while I was studying political science. Google the theory of comparative advantage. It might be David Ricardo. Probably not. Theory of comparative advantage. One country is better at producing everything than another country. it still makes sense for the country that's less productive. It's an international trade concept. The country that's less productive still produces whatever it's relatively good at, and there's more produced for society that way. Humans will produce what we're relatively good at. The bots will produce what we're relatively not good at. Maybe the bots will produce some of the same stuff we're producing, but humans will move to higher value labor, and humans will still produce no matter what. Victor Block says you're not wrong. History has proved this every time. I'm always open to, like, it could be like this total game changer. Elon loves the books, and I love the books from Ian Banks, the Culture series. And the Culture series depicts a world where the AI does everything productive, and humans just party on massive spaceships flying through space. It's kind of cool. It is David Ricardo. Awesome. So, talk the numbers. People need to hear the truth. But I just want to get to that point. I'm going to stop talking about universal basic income now, but I just want to get to this point that, I want to address this comment from Jesco in a second. This idea that, there was this comment about, anyway, I think I just really short universal basic. The idea that I never disagree with Elon. I disagree with Elon on universal basic income. I think it's an important issue that will matter at some point in the future, and I think he's wrong. And I'm happy to have a conversation with him about it. I don't think he's a bad person for advocating universal basic income. I don't think he's damaging Tesla by advocating universal basic income. I just think he's wrong on that issue. Yeah, Jim Whitehead, paying people during COVID was a taste of the stupidity of universal basic income. Absolutely. And you know, where's Jesco's comment? One of the problems is the idea that we derive meaning from work. I personally derive meaning from doing something useful. I actually, like, jokingly would say to my now ex-wife that I was going to write a book called The Occasionally Useful Husband, that every once in a while I do something useful. I think we all gain a sense of value in ourselves by doing something of meaning, doing something of value, producing something of value, helping others. If you say we don't get to work anymore, then we're not producing anything of value, then what's our meaning in life? Where do we as humans get meaning in life? We get meaning in life. So many of us, like, would I be happy hitting golf balls all day long? Maybe. But when I, quote, retired in 2011, I was playing golf 3 times a week. I kept finding other things to do instead of playing golf, even though I like golf. Like, I think at a certain point, getting drunk and chasing women and playing golf is not enough meaning for me, right? Raising children is meaning for me, but, you know, what do we even need children for? Like, even when it's concerned about population collapse, what do we need people for if we're not going to, you know, I think that this is dangerous. So, and somebody said that we need Giga Mexico to improve margins. The secret to improving margins is making the factory method more efficient. It's not about cost of labor. You want high value labor, like highly productive labor, working in conjunction with technology to produce in high volume. And the labor share of the cost of production ends up getting smaller because you're being more efficient at production. I don't think it's about just the wage rate. Brent, I have not thought about reconciling. Well, I've thought about reconciling my ex-wife, but it's not going to happen, so there's no point in talking about that. We have different goals in life. She's a good person. I'm a fan of hers. I think we're friends. I wish the best for her, but I'm chasing rockets and pod cars, and I want to climb more mountains, and she has different goals in life. And she's a great person, and she's a very good friend and a very good mother, and was a very good wife for a very long time. So, all right. How long have I been going? Going for almost over an hour. Okay, so let me just get back to the point here that you're going to hear, for those who are watching more recently. Tesla reported their production and delivery numbers for Q4, and they were massive jumps compared to Q3. They're all-time records by far. First time they delivered over 400,000 vehicles. They produced 439,000 vehicles compared to 366,000 the previous quarter. Massive jump. That's like 70,000, more than 70,000 increase in production. Huge. Tesla is growing spectacularly, but there are people who want 50% growth. Now, it is 40% year-on-year delivery growth for 2022 versus 2021. It is 47% production growth, vehicle production growth, 2022 versus 2021. We don't know revenue numbers yet. My prediction, these predictions are not financial advice, whatever. I predict that revenue growth 2022 versus 2021 will be greater than 50% because the average vehicle selling price for 2022 is significantly higher than the average vehicle selling price for 2021 because prices went up and because the mix shifted to more Model Y, which is a more expensive vehicle than Model 3. And I think there were more S's and X's produced in I can't verify this. I think more S's and X's were produced and sold in 2022 than 2021 and at much higher prices. Because you remember, Model S was selling for like 69,000 at one point, and Model S is now selling for like 105,000. And Model X, the prices are, and the FSD price is higher too. So I think we're going to see greater than 50% revenue growth 2022 versus 2021, and I think we're going to see greater than 100% profit growth for 2022 versus 2021. You have to be mental to think that that's a bad year, right? Now, did they achieve 50% production growth and delivery growth for the year on year? No. Did they hope to achieve that? Yes. Did they guide that they were trying to achieve that? Yes. There were so many curveballs thrown at them in 2022, and hopefully, and 2023 is going to have a recession curveball, so that's going to affect things as well. But Elon is committed. We're going to produce as much as we can. But let me go here. Let me just look in the chat again. So overall, though, this has been a great year for Tesla. Q4 is by far the biggest quarter in Tesla's history, by like a monster. Like if you think about it, Tesla produced almost as many cars in Q4 of 20. Think about this, okay? In Q4 of 2022, Tesla produced about 440,000 cars. In 2020, Tesla produced almost 500,000 cars, or they produced about 500,000 cars. So they produced almost as many cars in one quarter as they produced in a whole year just a year earlier. Not 2021, but 2020. That is massive growth. And so my guess would be that Q1 2023 will be more production than the entire 2020. This is a company that's growing insanely fast. So let's see. And real quick, I don't make short-term stock price predictions. People are going to be saying the stock's going to be down. I think there's a good chance the stock will be down on Tuesday. I also think that there's a chance that the stock will be up. People who got margin called, that selling pressure is mostly gone. Tax loss harvesting selling pressure is mostly gone. I don't understand all the options and other stuff. I don't know if there's going to be buying pressure. So it's really hard to predict what the stock is going to do. I never make sure. If anybody who tells you they can predict what's going to happen with short-term stock prices should be a trillionaire and not bothering wasting time giving you predictions about what's going to happen with stock prices. Because if you know what's going to happen with short-term stock prices, you'd be a trillionaire in a week, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen with short-term stock prices. Okay, so let's see. Realist said, Warren, do you really believe that Elon had nothing else to do to Tesla if he didn't waste all this time after Twitter? Just want to know your honest thought on this. So number one, his time at Twitter is not a waste. His time at Twitter is valuable, and saying that he's wasting time at Twitter is an attack on Elon, just to be blunt. And I don't think there was anything. Elon has said it, and I think he is correct, that there's nothing that Elon would have done at Tesla that would have made a difference for Tesla in the time he's been spending at Twitter. He's participating actively in management of Tesla, the company. Tesla has a spectacular team. When you say that, what you are basically saying is you don't believe in the Tesla team. I literally just created a Baglino fan club t-shirt. ElonBits.com for the shirts. Check out the other merch. T-shirts at ElonBits.com. Drew Baglino, Ashok Elaswamy at the Autopilot team. Lars Moravi's working on vehicles. The guy Priestley, I think his name's Dan Priestley, maybe. The guy with the Tesla Semi. Lars Moravi, Zach Kirkhorn. There's so many great people at Tesla. Martin Vieca's doing a great job in investor relations. There's so many great people on the Tesla team. Like too many to list. But those are some of the top people at Tesla. They're doing a great job. Saying that Elon needs to be there is basically saying you think those people aren't doing a good job. That's basically what you're saying. When you say that Elon needs to be there, you're saying that those people aren't doing their jobs. And I think those people are doing their jobs. Let's see. Yes, Schroeder Sport. Chicken Genius only happened to be right about the stock price falling. None of the reasons he had have happened. None of the reasons he had have actually happened, and he's already capitulated. Also, he got it wrong. He said 120 to 140, and it went below 120. And he bought at 150, and it dropped to 105 5 or something like that. So he got it wrong. Even his number prediction was wrong. And that's another thing. Elon spends more time at SpaceX. Over the last 3 years, Elon has spent more time at SpaceX than he spent at Tesla. If you don't know that, you're not following Elon. Okay, so percipients. We're going back to universal basic income for a second. When bots do everything better than humans, why have humans doing anything unless we advocate for the human touch? Humans need to do things to generate meaning for ourselves. If we're not doing anything of value, then why do we exist? What's our purpose if we're not doing anything of value? Answer that question for me. And technology will increase the productivity of labor. That's what it's always done. Julius Wang says, as a small business owner, I know how hard it is to grow a business at 40% year-on-year rate. It's ridiculous that people shit on Elon and try to teach Elon what to do just because Tesla drops. You rock, Warren. Thank you, Julius. And I was a small business owner. And basically, if you're a small business owner, the way you increase business 40% is you have an amazingly lucky year. Or you have a crappy year, and then the following year is 40% year-on-year growth. Tesla grew 40% year-on-year after an 80% year-on-year growth. More than 80% year-on-year growth. Sustained, 40% plus growth year on year is absolutely spectacular. Let's see. The better question to ask is Tesla still on the trajectory to 20 million cars in 2030? Great question, Eric Mulder. Yes. So, first of all, 20 million cars is not the only piece of the trajectory for 2030. The real trajectory for 2030 is 3 terawatt hours of battery cells, which I think roughly 1 terawatt hour of battery cells goes into 20 million cars. If the average car has a 50 kilowatt hour pack, 20 million cars is 1 terawatt hour. Okay. And then the other 2 terawatt hours go into Tesla Energy. That's a rough, some number of gigawatt hours goes into bots, but I think that's still, they use a very small amount of batteries. That's like a 2 kilowatt hour pack. So, a million bots is still only like 2 gigawatt hours, I think. So that's not a big deal. So it's a terawatt hour for 20 million cars and 2 terawatt hours for energy storage, roughly. And yes, they're on that trajectory as long as they can. We need battery production to scale to support that. The next generation vehicle platform, we're going to see this on March 1st. We're going to see this next generation vehicle platform and the next generation factory to build the next generation vehicle platform. That together, let me just check something really quick. That together will do it. Okay. My guests will be here in another hour, so I don't need to worry about time. I'm really glad to see so many people watching. We've got 780 people watching right now. This is spectacular. So the trajectory is 20 million cars. The trajectory is 3 terawatt hours of batteries. The trajectory is by 2025, hopefully, the robotaxi network will be up and running in multiple places. And by 2030, the robotaxi network will be running worldwide. And, Tesla will be producing 20 million vehicles a year, and those 20 million vehicles a year will displace 100 million new vehicles. Right? 100 million vehicles. And we will be on the way to shifting humanity to sustainable transportation. We will basically have wiped out gasoline cars, new gasoline car production at that point, and we will be gradually taking old gasoline cars and old diesel trucks off the road. That's the vision. So we're going to see, so my projection is that we're going to see roughly Model Y, Model 3, Model S, Model S and Model X are small, but Model 3 and Model Y will top out maybe 4 million cars a year, Cybertruck another million cars a year, and then the next generation platform will probably get us to 10 million vehicles a year. I mean, we'll be at least 6 million vehicles a year and maybe 10 million vehicles a year. That by 2030, there's probably a Gen 4 platform that's even better than the Gen 3 platform. Probably 2026, 2027, we're going to see that generation platform come out, and that vehicle is going to be even better. And of course, by 2027, I should be producing my pod car in volume. For those who don't know, I have this fantasy that I'm going to build a single passenger electric vehicle company that will the vehicles that will go on the Tesla robotaxi network or some other robotaxi network. The odds of me achieving this are small, but I'm a fool and I believe I'm going to do it. If you're outside looking in, there's no way Warren's going to succeed in this, but I believe I'm going to do it. Thank you, Grace Hopper's Crunch. Okay, so here's ATGUL. The good thing about having, I'm going to say Barry Black. I'll read the comment. The good thing about having Gary Black comment on the Tesla YouTube channels is that we have to have insight on how Wall Street thinks, and we should welcome his feedback and appreciation. Okay, so let me address Barry Black and his Wall Street insight. We don't know how Wall Streeters think. And I'm going to bet that not all Wall Streeters think the same. I think that there are different Wall Streeters who think differently. And you have this idea, Barry Black promotes the idea that he has his finger on the pulse of Wall Street and he understands how Wall Streeters think. But Barry Glack also told you that the Twitter overhang lifted on roughly October 25th and that the stock was going to go back up, and the stock fell 50% from that date. So apparently Wall Street didn't think the way that Barry Glack thought they thought, or said they thought. So the fact that Barry Glack says the portfolio managers I talk to, these imaginary figures that he claims he talks to, we don't know whether he actually knows anybody on Wall Street. We don't know how many people he knows on Wall Street. We don't know who he knows on Wall Street. He gives a form of analysis that is mostly short-term and useless for people who are long-term investors. The idea, this is the thing, like if you believe that somebody can make short-term stock price predictions, that person would be a trillionaire within a year, maybe within a week. And they wouldn't be bothering to tell you what they think. They'd be off on some Caribbean island with, surrounded by pretty girls and drinks. Or they'd be making another trillion, spending their time. Barry Glack. Wall Streeters used to down talk Apple too. Can anyone ever compete with IBM type perspectives? Retro. I don't know what the stock price is going to do tomorrow. How about playing golf with women that are drinking? Two birds with one stone. Yeah, exactly. I don't like women drinking. I don't like drinking myself. I prefer that people around me. I hang out with people who drink a lot, and I'm fine with it, and they're good people. But I personally prefer being around people who are sober. I think the conversations end up being more interesting long term. All fairly quiet on the semi front. Yeah, semi's going to roll, but semi's not going to be meaningful impact on the stock, on the company financials in 2022 at all. And in 2023, I think the semi impact will be small. Megapack impact is going to grow. But the Tesla energy business is going to grow in 2023 really fast, and that's going to be a bigger impact. So, official off-rail Russiagator says, congratulations on such a successful live stream, and Warren and crew, longtime viewer, even if Nick is new. Thank you. Will Tesla ever hit $200 again? So there's short-term stuff. I'm not going to make a stock price prediction for 2023. I jokingly say that Tesla will close the year at $420.69 because 420 is a marijuana joke number and 69 is a sex joke. And that's a very popular joke within the Tesla community. The number 420 and the number 69. But I have no prediction for the stock price this year. I do think that we are going to see significant earnings growth, but I think that the recessionary conditions depends on what happens with the recession. What I'm confident of is that Tesla will significantly increase production of cars. We're going to see roughly 50% growth in vehicle production. We're going to see roughly 50% growth in vehicle deliveries. We're going to see a 150 to 200% growth in energy storage and hopefully in solar as well. I'm actually, one of the things that we haven't heard yet is when's the next generation Powerwall going to be unveiled. Next generation Powerwall should be lithium iron phosphate. That'll be a big deal. So I see a lot of growth in the fundamentals of the company over 2023. But I think we're going to see pressure on revenue. We're going to see pressure on profits from a recessionary environment and high interest rates. So I think we're going to see over $4 earnings per share in 2022. I think that's a pretty reasonable prediction. It might be $4.50, might be $4.30. We'll see what earnings per share, non-GAAP earnings per share for the year. We'll see what that number is. And then for 2023, I had been projecting $10 earnings per share. But with the recession, with all these pressures, with the interest rates being high, with that pressure on purchasing, I think now, $8 a share might be a stretch and $6 a share might be hopeful. So earnings per share for 2023 might take a serious hit. If we get $6 plus earnings per share in 2023, that's still 50% profit growth. And the big thing is, will we come out of a recession in 2024? Will the recession end sometime in 2023? Will 2024 be a boom year? If 2024 is a boom year, that's when things get really crazy in the stock price as well. But the stocks in general are, if Elon is correct, and Elon is usually correct about these things, this is going to be a flat to down year for the stock market. I think Tesla's massively undervalued, right? I think Tesla, we're heading towards a company, really simple. Tesla's revenue for 2022 is going to be in the ballpark of $80 billion. If Tesla delivers 3 terawatt hours worth of products in 2030, the target is 3 terawatt hours of products of battery. If products containing 3 terawatt hours of batteries, if they make $500 a kilowatt hour, that's 1.5 trillion in revenue. That's basically a 20x in revenue. That's without FSD, right? That's without FSD. That's without Robotaxi. That's without bot. We see a 20x in revenue in 8 years. you know, and margins are probably over the long haul going to be 20, 25, 30%, and a lot more when robotaxi kicks in and FSD kicks in and, you know, and bot kicks in. So long term, a 20x is so I firmly believe this. Tesla stock will 20x by 2030. Right? Elon doesn't say that. Elon doesn't give it a 20x, right? He's pretty much given it a 10x. I think Tesla stock 20x's by 2030. So buying the stock where it is today, if it drops down below 100, whatever, if you can get Tesla stock for $100 a share and you're looking at $2,000 a share in 2030, what else are you going to buy? You going to buy bonds? I don't know. I'm not buying bonds. And the other thing about buying Tesla stock is there's this idea buy the dip. You never know where the bottom is. I have this view that I think Tesla's going to go to $2,000 a share, $4,000 a share by 2030. It doesn't matter that much whether you buy at 200 or 150 or 100 if it's going to go that high. You don't want to not buy at 200. Let's say it's going to hit 100. You think it's going to drop to 50. You don't want to not buy at 100 and then have the stock go down to 80 and never reach 50. And then it shoots up to 2,000 and you didn't buy at 100 or 80, right? So you buy when you think it's undervalued, and it's undervalued, and it's been undervalued, and it was undervalued when it was at its peak, and it's undervalued today. And I bought near the peak, and I bought recently, and I bought way, a long time ago. And when I have free cash, I buy Tesla stock because I can't know where the dip ends and when the curve up starts going, and I want to buy before I miss out on the jump. That's my attitude. I don't think you can time it. I think Chicken Genius demonstrated you can't time it. I think Barry Glack has demonstrated that you can't time it. If there's somebody out there who can do market timing that well, they're a trillionaire and they're retired somewhere. So, and there are no trillionaires, which tells you that nobody can call the stock market that well from short term. So, not financial advice, right? And yeah, Elon Bits for the merchandise. Thank you, Mark Plot. T-shirts, merch. There's 3 new T-shirts on elonbits.com. Please check them out. Okay, I've been going way too long. How long have I been going? Oh my God, I've been going for over an hour and a half. So I want to thank everybody. I want to especially thank the moderators. Please check out the T-shirts, elonbits.com. Please support me on the Locals platform. It's pinned at the top of the chat, and it's in the video description below. Please support me on the Locals platform. One of my New Year's resolutions, aside from being a bigger asshole, is to make more video content on the Locals platform this year. And most of that will be free, but some of it will be for supporters only, and supporters get early access to some of my videos, most of my videos. So please check out warrenredlick.locals.com. Please become a member. If you're kind enough, please support me on the Locals platform. Check out the T-shirts at elonbits.com. Check out my other videos. Please like this video, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much to Jim Whitehead, Mark Plot, and any other moderators I missed. And I hope you all have a great 2023. Let's have some fun.